All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live video. I'm waiting for other people to roll in. For those of you who are watching this, the replay later on. For those of you who are watching this on a replay later on, right? Let me know, right, what topics you want me to talk about in the comment section down below, because I'm about to make a video, a weekly series soon, where I talk about like finances, my opinions on it, and having your thoughts as to what type of videos or Q&A sessions in there I should have is going to help a lot. So let's see. Pulling it up on my laptop here. And good to see you again. Idre, that's a hard thing. Idre. Sorry, I can't really say your name or your screen name too well. So, have you changed your residency for the military so you don't have to pay state taxes? I'm thinking about doing this. Have I changed my residency for the military so you don't have to pay state taxes? So that's a little bit funky for me because I'm from Pennsylvania, right? And that's my home of record. And I did change my residency to currently in Maryland, but sometimes Pennsylvania will send me a letter saying like, hey, you made money from Pennsylvania because that's my home of record where I enlisted and left from. So they think like I'm still in Pennsylvania, but I'm not. So like almost like every year, Pennsylvania will send me a letter saying like, hey, pay taxes. And every year I'm sending a letter back saying like, hey, I told you guys this. I'm in the military. I'm in Virginia, California, now in Maryland. I don't have to pay taxes in Pennsylvania. So, I know in certain states they pay a lot more taxes than others, or certain states don't pay taxes at all. And when you have your home of record as that state where they don't pay any state taxes, that works in your favor. Is kind of what I've seen over the years that people do. Bradley S. Hey man, how is the Navy treating you? Currently, it's all right. I'm in my short command now, getting to the rhythm of it. I am over my sea command life, my 5 years at sea, and so kind of straight chilling now, and can't complain. I'm enjoying my time. How about you guys? When is Halloween? Halloween's supposed to be, what is it, today? When is Halloween? Tomorrow. Too bad I'm not going to really do anything, though. The only thing is, I don't know if people are going to come trick-or-treating. So I'm renting a room, and I'm going to be alone at the house over the weekend. And where I am, it's like a big township of townhouses, like a bunch of townhouses. So I don't know if kids are going to be out trick-or-treating. Not that I have any candy to give out either. So I might just be ignoring them or something. I don't know. Great to see you again, Yoon. Watching while doing my nightly workout. Veghead. Bradley S. Nice. I'm just trying to get through my first semester at uni. Town I'm at canceled trick-or-treating tomorrow, but my school is still doing something. Enjoy your shore duty. Baghead. Finally spoke to a recruiter yesterday after weeks of getting myself ready. That's good. That's good. The Navy has this Baghead, are you like trying to join the Navy? What branch? I know in the military, especially the Navy, they have this the camo mask. I don't personally have one. It's kind of weird. It's not legitimate, right? The Navy issues you like this cotton like a cotton mask, which I honestly don't think it really does anything. Like, you can wash it, that's fine. Like, you get issued these like nonstop, but really it's like it's pretty weird, the masks they give. But the one that you can buy at the NEX, the Navy Exchange store, that one's a little bit more legit. But even then, it's just a, I mean, from what I can see, it's a piece of cloth, which I don't know how effective that is. The mask itself, it's cool looking. I'm sure you can Google it and find it, but Navy Reserves. Very good. David Pang, Yoon, my man. David, what's up? Welcome to the live session. Welcome everybody on this glorious 30th of October, 2020. For those of you who are not in my Discord, you're missing out. You're messing up. Because in my Discord, for those of you who are investors in the stock market, right? Today and yesterday was a crazy red day. And next Monday and Tuesday should also be a pretty bloody day in the market, right? And on my Instagram, I posted a story 2 weeks ago of a video where I said, hey, if you're not in my Discord chat, right, you're missing out on this glorious piece of content from Jim Cramer, right? And I said that in my Instagram, and I put it in my Discord. And for those of you who are investing and you are hurting right now, it's because you weren't in my Discord chat. It's because you weren't in my Discord community. Josh M. Oh, David Pang. With the market sell-off, are you buying or selling? David, as of right now, I can't do anything because I'm buying a house. I have to raise safely. I have to raise $105,000. $105,000. My parents are gonna give me $30,000 for the house in Pennsylvania, not in Maryland, where I'm at in Pennsylvania. So I need to raise $75,000. It's not, buying a house is not something that I really wanted to do, but it's for my parents, like as a way to give back to my parents. So I need to raise $75,000. I already submitted a $15,000 security deposit, so I need to raise $60,000. And then so far, for the last month, I've been selling off my assets on my stock market. If you're in the Discord community, you should know. Let me get the link for my Discord community here. Invite people. This Discord link expires in 1 day. So I need to still raise $10,000, which unfortunately I do have to sell off some of my assets. I was actually hoping Facebook would go up to 300 because Facebook is my largest position. I have 130 shares of Facebook. Facebook should easily get to $300 per share, but it's just the market right now is just in a negative. And so Facebook is, in my opinion, still undervalued. But if I had money, David, I would just, my Discord community, right? When I posted my video, I already knew that this was coming in the stock market. Right now, the stock market's all bloody. It's going down. I knew I could see 2 weeks in advance that this was going to come. So in many ways, I did prepare by selling in advance. But if I had money right now and I wasn't buying a house, I would be a huge buyer in the stock market right now. As it's going down, so for example, if I had $10,000 right now just to spare, just lying around, I'd spend like $2,000 today, $2,000 the next day, and then when there are some stocks that I really like, when it's really low, I maybe put like $5,000 then, and then another $1,000 the day after that, and so I just buy slowly on the dip, and then wait for it to rise and still continue to buy. That's how I would play it. Josh M. Hi Yoon, what's your opinion on the IT rate and CTN rate? Which do you think is better? I don't know in advance, like, everything that these rates do. I've worked with CTs. I've worked with ITs also. From my perspective, if any of them gives me a reenlistment bonus, I would consider that. But they're both in the intel community, right? Information IDW, information dominance warfare. I don't know. I forgot exactly where these guys fall under, but ITs. I had a CT friend. I had an IT friend. I've worked more closely with the ITs just because they're more common, but I mean ITs, like, obviously they deal with computers, like on the ship, right, on the aircraft carrier. There's multiple different ITs. For example, if I need an email access, when you first get to a ship, right, the main form of communication on the ship is email, right? Whenever you're given an assignment, you're going to go into your email, open up that assignment, look at the link and all that kind of stuff, and, go through it that way. So there's ITs where, their whole job is to process people's paperwork and give them access to the ship's network. There are some ITs where, they're literally ITs where if there's like a computer issue, right, like, hey, my laptop's not working, then you submit what's called a trouble ticket, and then IT will come and figure out, is it connected right? Do you need to reboot it? Do you need to, does the IT need to manually override stuff? And there's different ITs that give like specific access. I think, if I remember correctly, ITs within like 2 or 3 years, they automatically become second classes. I think the advancement rate for ITs is extremely high. I think coming out of A school by itself, you get petty officer third class. And then after that, I think you're given a C school. I don't think everybody's given a C school, but I think most people that I've come across are given a C school. And they automatically become second classes. And there's C shore rotation. So my C time, right, I have to spend minimum 4.5 years at sea, but I think theirs is only like 3 years. And CTN, I'm not too sure about CTs because I haven't really worked with them too much, but IT, it's from what I can see, it's pretty chill. And do you still try to stay as frugal as possible, or do you splurge for comfort's sake at this point? And I'm going to be coming out with a video soon, actually, in somewhat related to this topic. But every month after taxes, I'm making about $4,000, right? $4,000 every month. $1,000 of that, $600 goes to this room that I'm renting. Even though, right, I have all this money, even though I'm making $4,000 a month, like, I'm renting a room, right? And this right here is an air mattress, guys. Like, I'm sleeping on an air mattress. And I have a sleeping bag right there that I still use. So I'm still frugal as possible. Like, even now, I'm considering, I've been getting a haircut like going to the military base to get a haircut, which is a luxury for me because for many years I've just been shaving my head. I had a little buzzer and I just buzzed it off. I think I'm gonna go back to that just to go frugal even more. So I'm making $4,000 a month after taxes. 600 goes to the room and 400 goes to the car that I bought monthly payments. So $1,000 is gone. And I estimate every month I spend right about, I'm gonna give a high estimate about $350 on food. Mostly I buy groceries like once a week. I'll eat out on Chick-fil-A or something like that. And so, at max, I'll spend another 1,000 on like miscellaneous after groceries and all that kind of stuff. So I have $2,000 free every single month. So as of right now, how my ratio kind of looks is 50% of my money is on expenses and miscellaneous expenses, and the other 50% is straight to just investing and saving. I don't really save anything. Like I said in my other video, for many years I've only lived with like $1 in my checking account and $1 in my savings account, because the way I see checking and savings, to me it's pointless. Like savings account, right? To me, it's just another way of saying like, hey, I want to save this money to spend it one day. And it's like, why would you just let that kind of money just sit there? So for me, I'd rather invest that. And if I need that money for whatever reason, like an emergency happens, I'll sell the stock, put the money back into my account, and pay off my credit card for whatever needs to happen. But no, yeah, I still don't. To answer your question specifically, I know I go off on a tangent, but yeah, I don't really splurge even now too much. Buying a house is a big splurge. It's not something I wanted to do, but it's for my family. So, Veghead, Yoon, did you ever hit up the Korean towns while in Virginia, mainly in Northern Virginia? I went to Fairfax, Virginia once, but not when I was in the Navy. Before I was in the Navy, when I had my own business, I was doing business trips to Ohio, Fairfax, and Texas. But no, I didn't really get to go to the Korean towns in Virginia. I didn't have a car. I have a car now, but yeah. How did you get into investing? I don't know where to start. Any advice? Josh, number one, join my freaking Discord community. There are some crazy people. And I mean, we talk about investing pretty often on a regular basis. There's a guy in there, he's got probably got like $65,000 in the stock market. Actually, with the market drops today, maybe a little bit below 60. There's another guy, he's got right about $80,000 in the stock market. I mean, right now, because I'm selling off a lot of my assets, I only have like 50,000 in the stock market. But there's this another guy, he likes to be very mysterious. Net worth, I'm not going to give out any information on who he is, but net worth, this guy's like $300,000. So when you're in that Discord community, you can interact with us. Like, you have a bunch of people who are willing to give out free advice. Like, that's something that I wish I had when I joined the military and I was looking to invest, when I was trying to figure out how to invest. I mean, that's where you start. Like, I have in the Discord chat, where is it? Useful links, under useful links tab, if you scroll all the way up, there's like stocks for noobs from Jeremy from Financial Education. It's like an hour-long video. You first get into a group, right? And surround yourself with like-minded people. Like, that's number one. Okay, that's where you start. And then, you ask the questions like, hey, what courses, what books, what materials, and all that kind of stuff. Bradley S. Just be wise with your money. Save for long-term goals. Home, car, family, budget. How much you spend a month. Hey, Yoon, ever thought about cross rating? If so, what rate? If I was to ever cross rate, I mean, to me, I mean, right now it's like impossible because I don't want to stay in the Navy any longer. But if the Navy made me a choice, gave me a choice right now, say like, hey, you have to go back out to sea. We're pulling that military card, and you have to re-rate to a different rate. What rate do you want to choose? I would try to be a CTI. I think not. Is that a CTI? CTI, whatever the linguist rate is, CTI rate. Or linguists, yeah, CTI. Just learning a different language and being paid to speak a different language. CTI. Like, to me, if I was to ever join the Navy again, I would very much be interested in being a CTI. Or let's say in the future I have a son or daughter, right? And they said, hey, I'm thinking about joining the Navy. I would first recommend joining as an officer. But if that's not possible, I would recommend CTI. Where do you live now? I live in a place called California, Maryland. City is called California. The state is in Maryland. Rob Green, Mr. Rob, RS, Rob. What's up, Kim? How's your rate for shore duty? Where are you? Where you are? By the way, how much money did you save from deployment? And is it easier to manage investments on shore or at sea? So first question from Mr. Rob. How's your rate for shore duty? So I'm in Maryland. My rate, right, I'm a logistics specialist. LSs can do many different things, but my specialty is in aviation supply. So working with like Boeing and General Electrics and all these type of aviation companies. My job in the shore command, it's chill. It's very chill. 40 hours a week, but super chill. Can't complain. Excuse me. Can't complain. Nothing too much to complain about. Easy people to work with. Easy job. I don't have a stressful job. It's not a stressful command. It's not a very high demanding command where I am. And that's what I specifically chose. And so I love that, because you can choose to have a very difficult shore command. Like, for example, when you're in boot camp, right, the RDCs, the recruit division commanders who train you for boot camp, right, that's their shore command that they chose. And that is a very demanding shore command, right? You're going to be working like 12, 16, 18 hours a day when you're on your shore command, where you're supposed to be relaxing. But it helps you further your career. If I was to become an RDC, like, I would be a first class by now. They have a new thing, give first classes to people who are second classes like me becoming an RDC. But for right now, in Maryland, where I am in Patuxent River, super chill, super relaxed. Enjoy it. I very much enjoy it. How much money did you save from deployment? So the advantage of my deployment was I left in April 1st of 2019, right? And for the first month, we were in the European area. And last year was when Iran and Iraq and Iran specifically acted up, and they were threatening, and there was a whole craziness going on, like drones being shot down and all that. So we had to go straight down to the Middle East, and we were stuck there for like 8 to 9 months. And in that area, you're taxed. You're not like not taxed, but you're not taxed, right? They say it's a tax-free zone, but you're still taxed like 10% of your money, of your base pay. But for the most part, right, to answer your question, Rob, I was able to save like, incredible amounts of money. I have a video about it actually. Let me actually look at it so I can give you an exact number. I might not be able to find it in time, just because there'll be a awkward long silence. But let's see. Should be pulling up soon. Oh, okay. So in 2019, I was paid $34,000 after taxes. I left for deployment April. So I imagine I would have spent probably about at max $5,000 of that. So I probably saved right about anywhere from $25,000 to $30,000 of that $34,000 that I made in 2019. And I was able to save 99% of that. And I invested it all into the stock market for the whole entirety of 2019. I mean, I spent a lot of money on Amazon buying a lot of food and getting it delivered to the ship, but my YouTube money kind of directly went to that. So I didn't really have to spend on anything. And his last question, is it easier to manage investments on shore or at sea? To me, I'm a long-term investor, so I'll hold a stock for many years. So to me, it doesn't matter. Because, for example, right now I have Facebook, Disney, and Starbucks, right? Those are my 3 remaining shares. I'm selling a lot of stocks because I'm funding my down payment for a house, which I need about $105,000. $75,000 is going to come from me. But yeah, I invest for a long term. Like, I've had my Facebook shares for like 2 or 3 years now. So 2 years, I think. 2 years. So I'm not worried at all. If I was to be frozen right now and I'd wake up 5 years from now, I mean, I would still have those stocks, Facebook, Disney, Starbucks, because I'm confident in the long term they're still going to continue to rise. So good for you. Thanks, Jeed. You're okay. Hiram Bifidum. David Pang. Yoon, did you try and look into VA loans? So unfortunately, I don't qualify for the VA loan. So for the VA loan, right, it needs to be like one of 3 things. Number 1, I need to be physically living in that address. Number 2, a dependent of mine has to live in that address. And number 3, it's a place that I'm going to be going to in the immediate future, which is a 6-month time frame. So I'm purchasing a house in Pennsylvania. Those 3 criteria do not fit my description of to utilize the VA loan. So I have to do what's called a conventional loan. And the only condition that I've talked to 4 mortgage companies, and the 4th one, the Veterans Home United, were the only ones who would accept me. Their condition was, hey, you have to put 25% down on the house. So the house that I purchased is a $330,000 house. So I have to put 25% down on that, and there's like closing costs and the mortgage closing costs and all that kind of stuff. So it requires insane amount of money. Hiram, always be careful of that PERT formula. Don't let any credit card offer sneak it past in your fine print. Condor, what job do you have right now? Specifically as a logistics specialist specializing in the aviation field, my specific job is basically I'm working closely with rates, AIMD rates, aviation intermediate maintenance department rates, such as like AEs, ATs, AMs, PRs. They fix gear for the aircrafts, right? So for example, let's say this is a jet. Within the jet, a radio breaks, right? So they take the radio out, and the ATs and the AMs, right, fix that radio, right? They order parts against that radio to fix it, right? Whatever, if a circuit card's broken, they'll take the circuit card out, order a circuit card, and then wait for that circuit card to come in, right? So that radio, right, that gear comes to me, right, and I store it in my locker for safekeeping, so it doesn't like break or they don't do anything crazy with it. So I do that specific job. At the same time, that circuit card that they ordered, I'm tracking down where it is in the Navy and trying to get it to my facility as soon as possible. So I'm what's called an expediter. So to summarize it, my main job is to collect any type of electronic gear from the maintainers, right? ATs, AMs, AEs, and then I expedite any special material that they need to fix these gear. So that's my job right now. Andy Nguyen. Hello, I appreciate you for doing this. How long did it take you to achieve $25,000 in your investment portfolio? Also, do you day trade? I do not day trade. I never really. I was taught, unfortunately, the way I was taught was self-taught, right? So I would YouTube like learning to invest. And unfortunately, the videos that I was stumbling across was day trading videos, which I didn't know any difference between day trading and long-term growth value investing, which is what I do now. So I understand the day trading ways, like the candlesticks and all that kind of stuff to some degree. But for the most part, I do long-term investments. And, if you want to join my community there, Andy, I don't know when you came in, we have some sharp people in my Discord community worth 60,000, 80,000, and the big guy in there is worth about $300,000. You can join that community and interact with everybody. So how long did it take to achieve $25,000 in your investment portfolio? So remember, if you saw my video where I explained how I went from $200,000 to $130,000 within 5 years, for the first 2 years, I learned how to invest by strictly just saving my money, right? And by the end of that, I had right about $20,000 just purely from saving my money from the military as an E1, E2, E3, right? And so it didn't take too long after I started investing. I made some decent moves in the beginning, stuff that's very regrettable. Because, for example, one of my major purchases early on, and I have a video about it too, I bought 100 shares of Shopify for $100 each. So I spent $10,000 to buy 100 shares of Shopify. And, as a trained day trader, whenever it went up, I took a quick profit and I walked away with like, $1,000 or $2,000. But if I still held those 100 shares of Shopify now, those would be worth like $110,000 or something like that. So it is what it is. I didn't know any better in the beginning, unfortunately, but so yeah, it didn't take too long to have $25,000 in my investment portfolio. I signed a AIRC contract at MEPS. What is your experience with air crewmen in the Navy, and what do you know about them? AIRC. Navy. I just hope it's not packed airmen. Rating information card, AIRC. I don't know. Okay. So I have never closely worked with air crewmen. So if they're the ones that I'm thinking about, which are like, for example, on a when I was on the ship, I used to do what's called COD flights. COD flights, basically, they're supply planes that come in and out of the aircraft carrier. So they fly off, go to land, we load stuff in there, and they come back and drop on the ship. And on the flight deck, I would go there and get all the stuff out of the bird, the COD flight, the aircraft, and the air crewman, AIRC. I'm sure there's different types of air crewmen, but they're the ones that I closely worked with the best. I know that like they get to wear this like golden air warfare badge after getting qualified. I don't know too much about them, Jay Honey, but I think from what I can see, they typically seem to enjoy what they do. It's very physically demanding from what I can see and observe, and just putting myself in that position. Very physically demanding. It's going to be very hot. Like if you're just in a helo, or especially in a COD flight, going back and forth in and out of Florida and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be super hot. And yeah, it's just be ready for a physically challenging rate. And I think an air crewman being on a COD flight, you're going to have to know a little bit about everything about the bird. And so, yeah, knowledge wise too, it's going to be pretty demanding. Stephen Billings Jr. Hey, I've been watching for a while now and I'm ready to join the service. Great. Hiram Biftum. Wow, man, you kept making Amazon purchases to an FPO address? Yeah. Everybody purchases stuff on Amazon and gets it sent to the ship. It takes like a month on average. Like when we were out in the Middle East, usually it takes about a month. But yeah. Stephen Billings. My question is, I am 29, and will I be eligible to still join? As of right now, yeah. I don't know if there's certain rates, certain jobs that's going to age restrict you, but at 29, I don't think there should be. But I know once you hit like your 31, 32, it's going to be pretty hard to join the Navy. But at 35, I think you can still join the Army. I don't know the exact age details. You can look it online or you can ask a recruiter. But yeah, at 29, you can still join. You might be restricted as to certain things that you can do, like I said, but yeah. Red Text. What up, bro? Been watching you since like 2017. Glad you're doing live streams. Believe it or not, Red Text, I am the originator of live streams. Everybody else followed me. If you actually watch some of my older live stream videos, you can find videos of me when other YouTubers came to my live streams. I'll be like, hey, do a live stream. Because at that time, I was growing so fast on my YouTube channel, like insane speeds, where like they would criticize me for like the type of content that I would make. But I don't really do too much now, so which I don't really mind. Enriquez, I'm currently stationed in Mayport, Florida, as an undesignated fireman, FN. Been on board my ship for 2 years. At least you get to be on Florida for your shore sea command. That's actually Like that's actually like one of the most desired things. It's actually something I even put for too, to be to have my short command in Florida was actually something that I really wanted, but I didn't get it. Been on my ship for 2 years and just got picked up for GSC. I have to go to A school at Great Lakes for 6 months here in December. Oh, great. And you also should get 2 weeks of ROM free vacation days. Yes, Andy says yes. Untamable 99 in Discord. I have been looking for a mentor and advertise. Oh, you are Untamable 99. Okay. In Discord, I have been looking for a mentor and diversifying my portfolio. I feel like I can talk to you for hours and pick your brain. You can, man. Like, just I feel like you haven't really said anything in the Discord chat too, but at the same time, I don't start a conversation too much. But I post in there my videos that I watch, and you can like right now you have does anyone here invest in crypto? And if so, what software do you use? So I have money in crypto, $1,500 in Link tokens. But if you go to the videos that I watch, you can start to see that I'm becoming very bullish on cryptocurrency. So yeah, that's a cool thing to see. Do you invest in crypto and other assets, real estate, crypto, Andy? So yeah, right now I'm putting $70,000 of my own money in real estate to have a house in Pennsylvania. Not something that I wanted to do, like I said, but it's for my parents, for them to live in. And yeah, for the next 5 years, I'm actually coming out with a very aggressive plan to achieve becoming a millionaire in the next 5 years. And and in 10 years, hopefully I can achieve becoming 5 million, having $5 million. And I'm going to be making videos and outlining exactly what I'm thinking on YouTube. But the benefit of my Discord is you can ask me questions and I can easily respond that way. But yeah, like I said, real estate, I have one that I'm purchasing a house. And crypto, I am becoming more serious into the crypto space. And right now I'm looking into getting into some Bitcoin, Polkadot, and maybe Ethereum, but I still got to do a little bit more research on Ethereum. But right now, the only cryptocurrency that I do have is Link tokens. Hiram Biftum. Oh yeah, if you go to my channel, you will find videos of me showing how to prepare as much as 6 pounds of foods for days in physical labor. I don't have a Patreon. No one pays me a red cent. You know what? Let's go to your channel. Let's see this. Your channel is not popping up. Okay. Hiram Bifidim. Thanks for the $2, man. You didn't have to, but I appreciate it. Stephen Billings. Will you show me the steps after you did till now to have the wealth you have with the 5 years? Stephen, did you watch my video of how I went from 200 to 130,000? That video gives a pretty good outline of it. That video right there. So yeah, in that video, right, I basically, to summarize it in a nutshell, came in the Navy with $200, June of 2015, and for the first 2 years, learned how to invest, learned about business. 2017 April, started investing. I only put in the beginning, put maybe like a couple $1,000s in, but the end of 2017, I put all of my money in, $20,000. And the types of investments, which is not in the video, right? The type of assets I would invest in is, for the most part, super safe, long-term growing. Well, in the beginning, like I said, I was trained a day trader, so I'd make rookie mistakes of buying and then selling whenever I make a profit. So, for example, I bought 4 Amazon shares for $800, and then, like a couple months later, it went to $1,000 per share, and I sold it, pocketed the $800, and I was like, great. But if I still held those Amazon shares now, they're worth like, $3,500. I would have, easily made 12,000. Was it 12,000? Yeah, $13,000. Long-term investing is the way to go, man. But yeah, the type of investments that I would go for are like super well-known companies, right? I don't typically, in the beginning, right? I don't typically like to stray away from those big, massive companies like Microsoft, Tesla. Tesla was kind of the risk factor, back when I started investing in it. Later on, exited with $16,000 profit. Should have held it, but long story. I held on to Google, held on to, Bank of America was a big asset that I held on to for a very long time. Disney is an asset that I still hold from one of my original investments. Even now, if you look at my portfolio, I have Facebook that I've been holding for 2 years. That's now up right about 60% from when I invested it. And right now, I also have Starbucks. So typically, I like to go into those big companies. You want to do your research too. You want to actually know about these companies. Like, for example, once I started achieving some level of success in the stock market, the people on the ship, that watched my videos came to me and started having a conversation and said like, hey, Kim, my last name Kim, said like, hey Kim, I put $10,000 in Tesla. What do you think about Tesla? And I remember, like, it was because it was crazy. I remember I was like, I think Tesla is a big bet on Elon Musk, right? If he can execute on his vision, his goals. And the guy that I was talking to, he's like, Elon Musk, who's that? And then I just remember thinking like, you put $10,000, you don't even know who Elon Musk is, and you put $10,000 on Tesla. Right? There are so many people that do not know too much about the company, but like they see it coming up and down on like the Robinhood app or on the stock news, like that's the company that people are investing in, and they just throw their money in, and usually what ends up happening is stock price goes up, and then they get in, and then whenever stuff comes up, obviously there's always a pullback, what's called a pullback, and it goes down, and then people get scared and they sell instead of actually you're supposed to buy more at that time, depending on your research if you've done it properly. But yeah, you want to do your research, right? You want to know what the company is about, right? The business model, right? You want to know what the CEO, his background, what he's actually thinking. You don't want to be investing into a quack. I've done that once. My biggest loss was 100% loss in a company called Helios and Methactinos or something like that. It's when it's like 2 or 3 years ago, Movie Pass was becoming popular, where you pay a monthly subscription for a movie pass. And this random CEO, as I was looking into this company, he's like 60 years old. Every business that he started kind of failed. But I was like, you know what? Let me just put $500 into this company. I like the business model. I don't really like the CEO too much, but maybe it can work out. But turned out the CEO was a complete quack. HMNY, that's exactly it. Yeah, and the business model, the idea of the business was great, right? Like I love that idea, but the CEO was just stupid, and so the business failed, and I ended up selling my $500 in shares for a penny, literally a penny. I'm not even lying. I sold it for a penny, and walked away from it. So you want to avoid making those type of mistakes, which to me it was an experiment, right? That's why I only invested $500, because I wanted to see how it would end up. But yeah. Let's see. Jay Honey, thanks for helping. Just subbed. Also, is there a name tag on dress whites? I feel like I've never seen it in pictures. Only officers do, but for general, like normal enlisted lowly sailors like myself, no, we don't. For officers, yeah, they have a little name tag. I actually have a name tag too. It's right here. But this is for my peanut butters. See? You can. For my dress peanut butters or browns, NSUs. That's what it is for. I was in Rota, Spain for 1 year and 8 months. Then my ship did a home port ship to Mayport. Ship is going to be going to the yards next week. So, Enriquez, you at least got to enjoy somewhat of Spain as much as you could before the whole craziness of the situation. Fours, clouds. I've been subbed to you for years. How's it going? It's going great, man. Can't complain. John Nguyen. How hard is it to convert from enlisted to officer? Pretty hard. I got a degree and currently stationed in San Diego. Pretty hard, even with a degree. For example, a friend of mine, somebody I highly respect, right, as a sailor. For me to respect another sailor, right, like somebody I highly respect as a sailor, right, that's rare. Like there's only a handful of people that on a sailor level that I highly respect, okay? Like this is a high title that I give. And he was like the #1 sailor, right? E5, right? He's got the Sailor of the Year as on an aircraft carrier, right? As a LS, beat out other E5s on an aircraft carrier of 3,000 people, right? Became #1 E5, Sailor of the Year, and he was trying to become a supply officer, and he went on multiple deployments, and just outstanding of a person. Sailorization was there. He had his college degree. He was pursuing masters. I think by the time he got out, he was basically at his master's degree, and yeah, somebody that I just looked up to and I respected. And he, for 3 years, for the first 2 years, he was building up his case to set himself up for his officer package. And the 3rd year, he put it in, and the PSs gave him the wrong paperwork. And so the PSs did not do their job properly, right? In this case, it's the PS's fault purely. And he filled out the paperwork, submitted it. He did what he was supposed to do, right? He went to the PSs and said like, hey, I'm trying to do this. Can you guys help me out? Submitted the wrong paperwork, didn't go through. He said, well, that sucks. Okay, next year, his 4th year, went down again to the PSs, and he talked to the enlisted education, not like ESO, or something, education officer or something like that. And filled out his paperwork, submitted his package, and they just forgot to submit his package. They just forgot to submit his package, right? That's like, you can't do that, right? He wanted to become an officer. He wanted to make a difference. He was such an outstanding guy, but there's a lot of things that you can't control, right? That whenever you want to achieve something in the military, right? A lot of the times your fate is in the hands of other people. In the case was with my friend. And, I know a lot of people who are watching, who are in the military, are thinking like, oh, he should have just constantly followed up. And he did. He constantly just followed up, went down there, said like, hey, did you submit my package? Did you submit my package? Is my package is good? Is everything good? Yada, yada, yada. But, it just, nothing to do with him, but everything to do with the people that he had to go through that messed up his paperwork, that forgot to submit his paperwork. And at the end of it, he just decided, he's like, hey, I really wanted to be an officer, but the Navy's not for me. But at the same time, I do know some officers. Like there's a girl that I came in with. She became an officer within 4 years. She had her college degree. We were in the A school together. We hung out together. And 4 years later, she became an officer. So, yeah, John, hope that gives you an idea. So it might take you 4 or 5 years is what I'm trying to say. Or, it might never happen. Are there investors that look up? Are there any investors that look up? That I look up to, Andy? Is that what you're trying to say? Also, how long did it take you to find a mentor? I've never found a mentor. Do you ever do option trading? Option trading, no. Finding a mentor in the stock market, no. I've had business mentors previously before I joined the military, like how to grow a business, but never had a investment mentor. I'm in a community now, for everybody who knows Jeremy from Financial Education, very outspoken guy, like holy smokers, this ain't no jokers and all that kind of stuff. That's his kind of like his catchphrase. I'm in his group. I paid $5,000 just to be in that group, right? Like, and I'm sharing what I'm learning from that group with you guys. Like, you guys have all the benefits in my Discord video, in my Discord community. So even then, like, there's coaching in the program, but it's not a mentorship. It's not like, it's not like my Discord community where, like, if you message me in Discord, like, I can just, be there and chat with you, and that's perfectly fine. But yeah, I never had a mentor, and I still don't have a mentor that I can, readily call and talk to about investing. I want to follow your footsteps. Very well can. Like my golden rule is save $1,000 each month. The platinum rule is maintain a humble lifestyle and save the rest. And invest too if you can. Hiram Biftum. Or if you type in AKHPLR, standing for anti-Karoshi response, it's just a fancy way of organizing yourself for employment. I am curious if Korean has an equivalent to the Japanese word karoshi. Let's look at that. Look up that word. I don't know what that means. It might be a bad word. Overworked death. Oh. Yeah, I think so. I'm sure there is, like, it is a work culture over there, but at the same, I don't think it's as severe as Japan, because Korean people, the Korean culture do have a general good balance of work life. Some people are more like purely work. I'm more purely work, but not too much. David Pan, HMNY. Same here. I own about 500 shares when I first started investing. Yeah, the business was there. The business was there, but the CEO was just quack. He lied a lot. He lied a lot too. He said like the business is fine and all that kind of stuff. He's just probably did that to get some kind of exit package and stuff. Is it hard to get laid in the military? No, not that hard. As long as you don't do it in the ship or any like government building, you'll be fine. The people who do get caught, there's some serious repercussions. Peanut butters as a nickname for U.S. Navy khaki uniforms. Never heard of it before. Interesting. Khaki. It's the I don't have it with me, but it's like, yeah, brown and black pants is for the enlisted. The chiefs and the officers are, you know, brown top and bottom. Stephen Billings Jr. I remember watching a video you made about scrubbing toilets, 4 or 5 years when you first started. That's right. That's right. Jay Honey. Is it difficult to get your degree while active duty? How long would it take? In my personal opinion, it depends, right? If you, let's say you have a 5-year contract, right? Within 5-year contract, if you go to a sea command like I did, right? You're going to a ship for 5 years. Like I went to a ship for 4.5 years, but like I extended to 5 years because of the whole pandemic. Within 5 years, at best, what you're looking at is, at best, if you're lucky, you can possibly get out with an associate's. And that associate's isn't going to be that strong because ideally you're going to be only applying for military-friendly colleges, okay? Because when you're on a sea command, the schedule does get hectic, and you know there's a lot of work that you need to do. And so what a lot of people do is they opt into a military-friendly college, and they get, you know, they pursue their degree that way, their associate's or their bachelor's degree with a military-friendly college. But the downside to that, right, when you're actually trying to convert it, so I have a friend of mine. We've been in. He's been in the Navy a year longer. He got out last year, right? He's been in for 5 years, and the only thing he focused on every single time, like the main thing for him was a college degree, right? The main thing for me is money, right? Having a lot of money, investing, but for him was college, right? Within 5 years, he almost got out with an associate's. But like I said, he was going to a military-friendly college, right? So when he went to convert his credits from military-friendly college to an actual, like, you know, credible, respected university, I think he had like, I don't know, how many credits does it take? How many credits does it take for associates? 60 credits. I think he had about like 50 credits from a military-friendly college, and he wanted to transfer that to a, you know, like UCLA, all that kind of stuff, because he wanted to use his GI Bill to pursue it. And UCLA and these, you know, respected colleges would only acknowledge, out of the 50 credits from the military-friendly, they would only acknowledge like 12, because honestly, from what I can see, the military-friendly colleges, the program is kind of a joke. It's not that difficult to really do. So, yeah, it's like, so it's extremely difficult. Number one, to get an actual degree, associate from a military-friendly college within 5 years. Incredibly difficult to get it from an actual university, like respected, because some of the things that's going to be against you is like, okay, you have your 5 years, right? For the first year, like you can't just join the Navy, go to a school, and then go to a ship, and you come to the ship and you have your chain of command, your upper, you know, higher ups, your first classes, your chiefs. You can't say like, hey, I want to go to college full time, right? I want to take 4 classes, right? That basically you saying you want to take 4 classes basically means to them like, hey, I don't want to do any of my job, and I just want to, pursue my education stuff. And so they have this thing where for 1 year, for your first year, they only want you to work, know your job before you pursue an education. And after that, I think you're only allowed using the tuition assistance like 1 or 2 classes per semester. So in a year, I think you can take like 4 classes, 4 or 5. I don't know the exact. I'm not too familiar with this area, but yeah, you really can't, like, it's the way it's designed. And even then, your chain of command has to approve it, right? And depending on your work performance, and typically they're going to want you to more lean towards only taking 1 class per semester. So in a year, you're looking at at bare minimum 2 classes. If you take a summer course and a winter course, crammed summer and winter course, that's maybe 4 classes a year. And so yeah, it super hard. Any new one? Does the Navy have foreign language proficiency bonus? If so, are you in or can talk about it? Oh, no, you can talk about it. Yeah, there are definitely like foreign language proficiency bonuses. For certain, not all language. Just because you can speak Spanish doesn't mean you're going to get a bonus. Like, there's so many people that can speak Spanish. Like even Korean, I don't get a language proficiency bonus. I think Chinese people, I think they get a language bonus. I think they might not. But there's a certain level to it, right? There's like a level, and depending on your level, you get paid accordingly to that level. But not all languages. There's only a certain select few. How did you build your credit? I didn't plan to build my credit the way I did, right? I think my Bank of America has FICO credit score, and at any given moment, on average, they put me right about at 800. But I recently did my credit check with the mortgage companies, all that kind of stuff. So they put me at right about 760, 770s. So basically, I never intended to build my credit the way it did, but basically, a mistake I think in the hindsight is I only had 1 credit card. I think I should have at least had 2 or 3. Not that you should, but for me, that's what I wish I did. But I mean, number one, I barely spent my money, right? And whenever I did, I would use my credit card. And I'm crazy about cashback, like cashback rewards. Like that's why whenever I purchase anything, food or snacks and stuff like that. So my credit, my Bank of America cashback rewards credit card has a $5,000 limit. And like I said, I lived like a bum for my last 5 years. So I would only spend maybe like $100, $200 on that credit card. Sometimes whenever I buy a plane ticket to go to Brazil, Korea, Disney World, and all that kind of stuff, whenever I pay for those, of course, those go to the credit cards. But I get cashback rewards for that, so that's also good. But basically, I think what helped me in the long run was I spent so little on my credit that it helped me build up. And yeah, and I'm not too crazy about credit scores. I'm not a credit score kind of crazy guy, but it just helped me do that. That was what I did. Have you ever played Gay Chicken in the Navy? Unfortunately, unknown profiler, I did. And I lost. A guy kissed me. So you guys have heard it. I think I've never said this. So basically what happened was there was this guy, his name was Adam. that used to work for me. And Adam would always just try to like play that gay kind of game. And one day I was like, I went close just to like try to like make him like back off. Like he's like, oh man, I'm not actually trying to do it. But one day I went like actually close, and he actually just came for it and just kissed me. So yes, it happened. Unfortunately, I told my girlfriend too, and she's like, "Are you into men?" And I was like, "No, it's an accident. It happened." She was cool with it. She was like, "Oh, whatever. You're stupid." Basically, is what she said to me. Thanks for serving, you, AG. You got it. Do you think U.S. will go to war with big countries like China or Russia soon? I don't think so. I know it will be but it will be a gnarly life story to have if I was in the Navy while we were at war. Of course, it is something that I thought about. Like when I was in Iran last year, like it was crazy. The tensions were high. It wasn't that high, but it was still high enough where President Trump bombed one of their top generals. There were drones being shot and shot down. Iran was like overtaking Japanese oil tankers and all that kind of stuff. So tensions were definitely there. Like while we were sailing, other unidentified ships would like purposely go in front of our ship while we were sailing, because their plan was like, hey, the U.S. ship ran over our fishing ship, and they purposely did that to try to incite like a spark, some war efforts and all that kind of stuff. Like there were definitely things that they did last year when I was in there for 8-9 months or whatever, but we always avoided it. I mean, we usually stayed out pretty far back, sent our birds, and they did their job and dropped bombs and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the fear was definitely there. But most of the time, like the tensions were there, like for the war. But people inside the ship, it was just like every day, like, hey, we're just here to do our job, and our job is to order parts and put bombs on planes, and no one really thought about it in that sense. Joey Sanders, enjoy your content. Hope all is well. Mr. Sanders? Is that the same Mr. Sanders that I'm thinking about? Stephen Billings Jr. Message retracted. With the information you know now, if you can go back when you were first started, what would you do differently? I would definitely, number one, my biggest regret, I'm so prideful in my military career that not winning Sailor of the Year for my aircraft carrier when I was in there is definitely my biggest thing. Sailor of the Year is basically being number one for your pay grade for that year on the ship. That's something that I wish I did, like just focus on my military career like that, and make rank, like making rank, prioritizing it. Because if I had done that correctly, if I had, understood how I studied, understood what I need to do to retain that information, which I figured out now. But in the beginning, I didn't, it was hard for me to actually sit down and study and retain this information. I have a dog in the house, Tipsy. She's barking. If you can hear me, if you can hear that. But number one, making rank. I would, if I played it right, I'd be a first class by now, which in return I get paid more money. And number two is just have been within a community like my Discord community where I can freely talk about investing, and I would have been able to figure out exactly what I was doing wrong from the very beginning, right? Because those early mistakes that I made, like I, ended up with $130,000, but had I learned properly, like I actually know I can give you and cite you the exact moments, right? For example, like I said with my Shopify, I bought 100 shares of Shopify for $100 each. If I still held those, right? Understanding that it's a growth stock, I would have $100,000, $110,000 of Shopify right now, today, right? And last year, July of 2019, I bought 50 shares of Tesla for $250 each. I should have held on to those Tesla shares, but I didn't. As it went up, it went to 400, 500, sold some, went to 850, sold the rest, pocketed $16,000, $17,000 profit, but I should have held those. And there are so many cases like that where I should have held my stocks longer. I should have seen a longer vision for these companies, but I just didn't. And it's because how I was taught. I was self-taught, and there was a lot of shortcomings on my end. And if I invested properly, I would right now have right about, I would confidently say at a minimum of $300,000 to, if I did very well, maybe about $400,000. So instead of $130,000, if I had been within a community such as my Discord, where I have a guy there, he's worth $300,000. I have, me, another guy that's worth about 80, another guy that's worth about $60,000. Been able to communicate and surround myself with like-minded people. That's the biggest thing. I didn't have like-minded people around me, right? Had I had done that, I would have had, right about $400,000 instead of 130. So yeah, that's what I would have done differently. So long answer short, two things. Number one, make rank, focus on making rank and making Sailor of the Year. Number two, surrounding myself with like-minded people, which is very hard to do. Even now, like there's only 12 people in this YouTube live. Like you guys are smart. Like in my opinion, you guys are smart. And for those of you who are in my Discord community, you guys are even smarter for that. Because some of the information that I put out in there, if you are an investor in the stock market, is just second to none. Like it gives you an advantage. So the list had Korean on it, unless they changed it. I want to join the Navy because of money like you. What should I know? How can I make it easier with the information you know? The Navy, the military in general, in my opinion, it's not for the money at all. Like right now, I'm making after taxes, probably for the next 3 years. After taxes, I'll be making right about $50,000 after taxes. So before taxes, I'm looking at right about $70,000, $80,000 a year. Let me reread the question. I want to join the Navy because of money like you. What should I know? How can I make it easier with the information you know? If you can, join as an officer right away. Like, don't join enlisted, then officer, like, because that's going to be very difficult. That's an uphill battle. Like, if you can from the very beginning, join as an officer, and you're gonna make a lot of money, a lot more money compared to an enlisted person like me. Like, if you're, I think you said you had a college degree, if I remember properly, but like, yeah, that's the way to go. Like, join as an officer, educate yourself on investing, right? Like I did. Like I purchased Kai Lopez's course for $1,000. He didn't really teach me how to invest. He taught me how to think. Like that was very important. Tai Lopez taught me how to think. And right now I'm in Jeremy from Financial Education, Jeremy LeBeff. I forgot exactly how to say his name, but I'm in his Discord community in Jeremy's Stock Market Six-Figure Club Award. I'm learning how to invest properly with this group, and I paid $5,000 just to be part of that group. Like you have to spend money to educate yourself. You don't want to spend money on everything and anything, because there are definitely a lot of quacks out there. Fitzin, I forgot to mention. Sorry, I missed your question, mate. Thanks for the $5 donation. Respect you for joining the Navy. I'm currently working on getting into the SEALs. I tried to be a SEAL before I joined. I took my PST, physical screening test, failed. The SEAL chief, his name was, I don't know if I can say his name. For the safety, I'm not going to say his name. Not that I don't think it's very important, but yeah, I had a SEAL chief that was, we were at the YMCA, and yeah, he worked me, man. He's like, hey Kim, like, you know, you have a big head, like, you know, when you get there, if you get there, like, they're gonna make fun of you. And I was like, yes, chief, and like, he was a fun guy. Okay, going back to Steven's question. I want to join the Navy because I have money like you. What should I know? How can I make it easier with the information you know? Steven, so if I was to join the Navy again, like I went back 5 years with what I know now. Number one, I would finish school, get my degree, become an officer, right? Join in as an officer, work hard on the Navy, right? My job, become number one, become super proficient, build up a great reputation, become extremely well known, but at the same time, work even harder on developing my financial knowledge, financial education, knowing how to invest, understanding, you know, finances. Like, that is incredibly difficult because it's hard to find like an exact blueprint. My accumulation of financial knowledge is years of consuming YouTube content from people like Pat Bet David from Valuetainment, you know, Ty Lopez, Jim Rohn, the life coach, and a bunch of other people like Robert Kiyosaki, and reading a bunch of different books from Tony Robbins and all that kind of stuff. It's like, it's just so much work to build up to building up your financial education, and you want to figure out what works for you, right? Because what works for me is not necessarily going to work for you. So you have to figure out what your method is, and you can only do that by consuming so much content and figuring out what you want to try out and implementing that. So yeah, I know I get off topic and I get scatterbrained a lot, but yeah, if I was to join officer, do well on my job, educate myself, and live broke, live like a homeless person, basically. Like, there's many times when I thought of myself as just like a homeless person, living on the ship and just scavenging for any free food that I could get that was not the food from the ship, because food from the ship wasn't that appetizing at all. So whenever there was free food anywhere, it's kind of where I would just walk to. Notice I said walk to because I didn't have a car. I didn't really have good clothes or anything. I just wear basically the same clothes almost every single day. I'm that weird guy, you know. I would shave my head. I don't like style my hair by any means. I've done that before, but not so much anymore. Just try to save like 99% of your money, and then when you are confident, when you know somewhat of investing, then start investing. And when you feel more confident with your research, with your investments, that's when you go heavier and heavier, and just try to live that glass cannon lifestyle of I'm going to be putting out a video about this in the future, so stay tuned for that. Okay. Did you ever eat an MRE for Thanksgiving? I've eaten an MRE before. I have a video about it, but not for Thanksgiving. I think the MRE I ate was some type of like chili MRE. I have a video about it. If you want to see it, you can look through it. Is there organized sports in the Navy like volleyball or basketball? They do have like a Navy team. I don't know too much about it. I know you can join like the Navy soccer league and stuff, but depending on what sport it is, I don't think it's going to be too much. All right. Having some technical difficulties here. Sorry about that. It kind of just stopped for whatever reason. If you guys could just start commenting so I know it's live, it's actually live. Just say hi or something. See if it works. Let me actually make sure. Okay, it works. Okay, going back to it. So, Mr. Honey, yeah, there are definitely sports, but it's actually probably hard to get into, and I've only heard of one person actually within my command when I was in the I mean, there's like command groups, like my command, the USS Abraham Lincoln, had a ice hockey group, basketball group, but like competitively as a whole Navy, there was also only one guy who joined the Navy's soccer team. So it's there, but you know, it's nothing too much. Stephen Billings, do the Navy give you a bank account, or do you have to use Bank of America? No, I personally chose Bank of America. When you go to boot camp, you're given an option, either Armed Forces Vacation, or not Armed Forces, I forgot exactly what they're called, but Armed Forces and Navy Fed. Most people, from what I can see or saw, lean towards Navy Fed because it has the word Navy in it. That's purely mainly for the reason why I see a lot of people just join Navy Federal. It has its benefits from what I saw over the years. Not that it's anything like cutting edge benefits. Like, for example, Navy Fed will give you your monthly or bi-weekly pay 1 day in advance. Like, it's not much of a selling factor. It's not much of a wow factor, but that's like what they're trying to like market and show people. To me, that just didn't really make too much sense. Let me actually charge my phone here. All right. So yeah, you still do need a bank account. I mean, if you already have one, like Wells Fargo or something like that, that's perfectly fine when you're joining in the Navy. But yeah, if you don't have a bank account and you join the Navy, which some people do, typically when you're in boot camp, we have like a day where people from different banks, only 2 banks, military-friendly banks, will come in and they'll present their case as to why you should bank with them. And most people go with Navy Fed because they're in the Navy. People in the Army go with the Armed Forces, whatever bank, because it's in the Armed Forces name. That's what I've noticed. OMG, it's Wild Will. I'm joining my basic training on Monday. Congrats. Enjoy as much freedom as you can. Make sure, I'm about to end it soon. I'm going to go through all the questions still, but I'm going to end it soon. So make sure if you have any question, leave it now or forever hold your thoughts till tomorrow. What are your thoughts on ETFs or REITs? Real estate stuff, I'm not too much into. But funds, different funds, I mean, it depends on what's in there. Like, I would know and understand what businesses I'm investing into. Like, basically, what I'm trying to say is I my investment philosophy, like whatever funds you're investing into has to match your investment philosophy. When I was on the ship, I knew a guy, he was a PS2. He had about $160,000, and the only thing he invests in are like, funds, like mutual funds and all that kind of stuff. He's not an individual stock picker like I am. I'm an individual stock picker. He's an ETF guy, so that was kind of interesting, and we communicated too. But as long as whatever your investment philosophy is, right, you have to have it. Number one, an investment philosophy, and number two, an investment strategy, right? So buying ETF or real estate stuff, that's a strategy. But number one, what you have to figure out is what's your philosophy. For example, ARK Invest, right? Kathy Woods. If you want to invest in, ARK, like I would be more interested in investing if I was going to go to the ETF route, investing in ARK, right? ARK, ARKK, because I agree with Kathy Wood's philosophy of investing in disruptive innovation, right? High growth companies are what I'm more looking into now. So that's the philosophy that I go by, and that's the philosophy I agree with, right? Some of these funds have they're balanced, right? So they'll have like an oil, they'll have, the disruptive technology, and they just have a bunch of weird stuff mixed in there. You want to be careful with what you're picking, because some of those funds could not really do you any good, or you could actually do you some harm in the long run. So I'm not much of a fund guy. I'm more of an individual stock guy. How much do you suggest saving before you invest in the stock market? Mental freedom, as long as you feel confident, you can. Like it's not. There's not much of a, in my opinion, it's not a money limit. If you feel that you've done your due diligence of understanding the stock market as best as you can, then I think you should start investing, right? I personally, like I said, I spent 2 years just educating myself, right? But that wasn't enough at all. And so that caused me to make a lot of mistakes early on. But there's no certain amount when, once I have $10,000 or $20,000, I should start investing. There's no certain amount. It's just whenever you have that knowledge base, whenever you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people that can, elevate you, bring you up higher, instead of your other friends that try to bring you down, like, oh, don't invest in the stock market, you're gambling, or hey, don't invest in this company because and they don't know anything about the company. It's like, oh, don't invest in them. Like my mom, like I want to take investment advice from my mom, right? One day she showed me, I was in Starbucks one day just drinking coffee, and I called my mom. I was like, hey mom, can you pick me up? She came and picked me up, and she's like, hey, I don't want you going to Starbucks anymore. And I was like, why? And she's like, I saw this article. They're devil worshippers. They have this devil worshipping cup for their, Starbucks cup. And I was like, mom, that's fake news. Like there's so many people that you don't want to take financial advice from. Like, you want to cut those people out. You don't have to completely cut them out, but just don't take any investment advice from them. But yeah, being educated financially, right? Being financially responsible, number one. Surrounding yourself with like-minded people that are going to try to help you, elevate you. For example, my Discord chat, my Discord community. I'll put a link again to it. And yeah, that's when you can start. How can I be able to get in the Discord community? Right there. You can sign up, just create an account. It's free. I'm not charging anybody anything right now as it is. In the future, I will be charging people to be a part of my Discord community. Maybe not this one. Maybe I'll create another separate one. But as of right now, I don't have plans to charge anybody anything. But yeah. Mental freedom. Nice, you just answered my question. Okay. Mental freedom. I can hear and see you good now. Okay, live and direct. Do you have multiple bank accounts? No, I only have one. I'm trying to find high interest one, and the COVID caused most of them to drop. Andy, so high yield, like high yielding savings accounts and all that kind of stuff, to me is a bunch of bogus in regards to bank. So this is not a financial advice or anything. Like, this is just me sharing with people, with you, my opinion and my perspective, right? What banks do, what I want people to understand is what banks do with your money. For example, Bank of America might have a program. They'll say like, hey, if you put $10,000 into a high yield, high interest savings account for 1 year, right? Put in $10,000, we're gonna give you back 1.25% of that money. So within a year you'll get $125. Which for people who don't invest might seem like an amazing deal, right? You just can't touch that money, or if you touch it, you pay a penalty, and banks still make money, right? Either way, if you do that, right, banks win. Banks make money, right? Because when you say, okay, I'm going to do that, I'm going to put $10,000 in, I'm not going to touch it for a year, and the bank's going to give me 1.25% back within a high yield interest savings account. And at the end of the year, I'm going to have $10,125. What they do with that $10,000, right? They either take that, they kind of put an IOU on that for a little bit. They take that 10,000, they either loan it out to somebody and charge like 3 or 4% interest within a year, or they invest it in the stock market and buy a company like Coca-Cola, which is pretty undervalued right now, in my opinion. Anytime it falls below $50 for Coca-Cola, KO, I'm interested in it. And they'll collect, right now, KO's paying what? A 3.6 dividend right now? KO stock. 3.41% dividend. So you put it, right? If I was the bank, right? If I was the bank and I said, hey, you give me $10,000 and I'll give you $10,125, right? It's 1.25% of your money. And you say, great. So I take that money, take that 10,000, put it into Coca-Cola stock. And within the year, the Coca-Cola stock, I personally feel it's going to rise, right? So number one, I take capital appreciation because the stock increased, the bank, and Coca-Cola is going to pay me 3.14% right now to own their stock. If I held it for a year, right? Let's see how much that will be. $10,000 divided by $48 is 208 shares of Coca-Cola, right? And right now, 48 divided times 0.0341 times 208. So a bank like me investing in Coca-Cola will make in a year $340 just from dividends, secured right there. I'll gladly give you $125, and I make $215 on top of capital appreciation that I made for that investment as a bank. That's what banks do. They take your money, invest it, and make more money, and give you a little bit of it back. Is it ever hot at RTC, Recruit Training Command? Yeah. If you go in the summer, I was in the summer, it was hot. Do you use M1 Finance? What are your thoughts on dividends and M1 Finance? I've heard that before. Is it a YouTube channel? M1 Finance. Oh, it's not a YouTube channel. No, I've never used it. I don't know what it is. What are your thoughts on dividends, and do you do fractional shares? I don't do fractional shares. Only when it's dividends reinvested. So, like, for example, I had Coca-Cola stocks, and it was still undervalued. So any dividends, I set it up I set it up where the dividends that Coca-Cola paid me will go into buying its own stock. And so I ended up owning some fractional shares that way. And later on I sold it all, but I normally just don't do fractional shares. It's not even an option that I have, and it's not something that I would be interested in doing. Coming to tune in on your live stream. Appreciate your time and viewing your perspectives. You got it. What time will you go live again? Steven, I'm honestly not sure. I don't really have a certain time, but generally at nighttime, East Coast on the weekends is when I usually do it. Logan, what's up? Michael Lambert, Shimmy, you're a hero. Thank you. Thank you. Should I talk to another recruiter? I passed the Army ASVAB with the minimum score required, and he kind of stops talking to me. I would still just try to give him benefit of the doubt. And if he is avoiding you, then yeah, maybe. Just try to talk to somebody else. MXB, seems I'm late. You are. I'm about to close it out here soon. It's been almost 2 hours. Do you use Robinhood? No, I do not. I use Merrill Edge Investing. That is connected to my Bank of America. Bank of America owns Merrill Edge. So, all right, guys. Thanks for making it out today. If you want to continue any conversation, use the Discord community. M1 Finance lets you buy fractional shares. You can make your own pie slice, which is like an ETF. I think I did see some YouTube videos about that. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.